Hello and welcome to the Drive Home Podcast, the podcast where I'm the only one who needs to wear a seatbelt. Today, at least in America, I have no idea how other countries work, and I don't know, I know the 4th of July is an American holiday, but I don't know a lot of the specifics of what exactly is and isn't an American holiday. But today, I got out of work at 3 in the afternoon. And then I stopped by Walmart to do some last minute shopping since I have 2 days off in a row after this. Which, I'm not exactly complaining about getting 2 days off in a row. But at the same time, that means I basically have to work 5 days in a row. Because it usually loops back around to next week. And so anyway, I stocked up on some stuff I might need. I got some milk, I got some snacks, and I got some dinner foods, so I don't have to go out for dinner, or to find something for dinner, I guess. I don't know. Also, so tonight, I don't know if it's releasing for midnight for each different time zone, or if it's releasing midnight at a certain time. I'd have to check. But Multiverse re-releases tonight, within the next 24 hours. And so that's exciting. I'm excited for that. So some of the snack foods stuff I got. So I got 2 boxes of Scooby snacks, and I bought a box of the Scooby-Doo gummies because they've been showing up around, and I was just like, ooh. And so if you're gonna buy the Scooby snacks, the graham cracker snacks, I recommend you don't buy the ones that come pre-packaged, where it kind of looks like it's an off-brand and they pre-package them, because that's way more expensive. Legitimately, just get the box and it's half the price with the same or more amount of Scooby snacks. I don't know why people think that that's a smart idea. Yes, let's just use more to sell less and then charge more for it. I don't know, that just seems dumb to me. And then I haven't seen the Scooby-Doo gummies in a while, but they were showing up in my store, and I saw some at Walmart. And so I got some, and I ate a couple packs. 2. And then I got some lunch food, so I ate lunch just before I started this. Because I had breakfast really early in the morning, and then I didn't really eat too much at work. So there was a decent gap. But so I got milk, and then as the last thing, I believe I got a sub from my work, that's not a sub. I was going to get an Italian sub, but they didn't have one at my work. So instead I got an Italian style cut in a sandwich, a normal sandwich, but you cut it in half, I guess. I don't know. And I only ate some hot stuff that I bought, and I'm not going to mention that since it's already gone. And so I'm pretty good right now. I'm pretty happy about that. Psyched about multiverses and all, but I digress. So today is Memorial Day. I'm stupid and young, so I don't really remember a lot about the holidays. So I'm just gonna say what I think it means. It's kinda Memorial Day is celebrating veterans and stuff, and I like that because, I'm patriotic. I am American, born and raised or whatever. But on a more serious note, people like sacrifice themselves for their country, and while not everything in America is perfect, people do go off to war, and they fight battles and stuff, and they get injured and die, and it's a very, very serious thing, and a lot of people come back missing limbs or not right in the head because war is traumatizing. So, thank you, veterans and war survivors out there, I guess. Thank you for your service. I think my great-grandfather, who passed away when I was young, was in the war, though or a war, I don't really remember which one, but I was like 3 or 4 when he died, so no one really spoke about it all that much, and I don't remember much about it. But moving away from that morbid point, sadly, so today is sort of a part 2, because yesterday I recorded I recorded a video on what constitutes a hero. So today I'm going to try and do the same thing for what constitutes a villain. This is going to be a really weird named episode. It's probably going to be called Memorial Day and Villains. Yeah, that's going to go across great. But yeah. So villains. What constitutes a villain? And I don't necessarily mean like a good villain, but I mean like a true villain. Like a to the core bad person, not like a misled person who does like the wrong things for the right reasons, but like what makes a villain, right? So like as a reference to like someone I kind of was not, I guess someone I'm thinking of Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as sort of a true villain in a sense, because, and Cars, I guess, as well, also from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as examples. And I won't go into their characters, but they are bad people. They are main villains. Anyway, so I think what constitutes a true villain is way more simple than what constitutes a hero, because heroes sort of have like very specific standards, where I think as a villain it's similar, but it's way easier to go over. So again, with the intent is very important. I think it's the will and intent to do something inherently wrong or against the law or illegal. Well, that's what against the law means. Or inherently, it would hurt. It could hurt people or would hurt people on purpose. Like the purposeful act or willingness or idea and drive to go through with a plan or something that would hurt people or kill people or otherwise upset people in a way that is wrong, I guess. I don't know. So there are a lot of characters that don't really fall into this, but it's because there are lots of characters in media nowadays that are just kind of like and they're good characters, like they have good character points, but they're also a lot of them aren't like truly evil. So, and I won't go into too many of them, or go into depth on them for safety's sake of spoilers, I guess. Well, so I'll start. I won't really. I think I'll talk about Dr. Doofenshmirtz as like he's not really a good example of a true villain. But I will put this out there: Ice King is not a true villain, which is a good thing. And it's like it really depends on what context your villain is in, I guess. But like, so villains, so just to reiterate, villains are people whose intent is solely for their own benefit or to inflict harm or pain upon others for no good reason other than selfishness or something to that extent. So like robbing a bank, you know, it doesn't make you a good person. Here's the thing, right? Like, you can say stealing money from people is wrong, but the story of Robin Hood is really weird about that, because Robin Hood is a thief who steals from the rich and gives to the poor, right? And he's doing it. He is seen as a hero of the people because he's stealing so that the poor people can pay the taxes that are imposed on them, because they are repeatedly unable to pay taxes for one reason or another. And then, you know, he's also selfish about it. So I'd say he's more like a neutral hero, but he definitely is more heroic than he is, you know, villainous. As far as the story I know goes, that's my perspective on it. But for villains, Ice King is definitely Ice King and Doofenshmirtz fall into the same category of not a true villain, but a good villain, or a well-written villain, that is to say. Or I guess antagonist, a well-written antagonist, because antagonists aren't necessarily villains. But so Dr. Doofenshmirtz, for people who don't know, somehow, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is from a TV show called Phineas and Ferb, which is just a summary. It's sort of like most Scooby-Doo episodes. It follows the same sort of line of writing each time. Like, the story is basically the same each time, but there's a different villain in a different location, and it's a different bad guy, and it's a different costume, right? And that's what Scooby-Doo is. But so the way Phineas and Ferb works is Phineas and Ferb are, I don't really know, they're in elementary school, I think. And long story short, they make something in under a day, or usually takes like half a day or something, that like they shouldn't be able to do. They shouldn't be smart enough. They shouldn't have the funds. They shouldn't be able to construct it that quickly. So like, I think in like the first episode or in the opening credits, they and you know, it happens in an episode, they end up building a roller coaster, right? Like, and these guys are, I think, in elementary school. I think they're supposed to be like 10 or something. Is that in middle school? I don't know. I think they're supposed to be in elementary school, but it's hard to tell because it's exclusively during the summer that the show takes place, and then there are some outliers that take place during winter and some other events, but they don't really go to school because school is out for the summer. And so it's their summer adventures. So each day they try and build something, and while they do that, their older sister Candace tries to get their mother to see it, and so that she will ground them or bust them or whatever. So Candace is trying to bust Phineas and Ferb building these crazy machines or doing their crazy things that they do each time. And sometimes they do things for like the right reason. Like one time they got a band back together that their mom and dad, or that their mom loved because their dad forgot it was their anniversary or something. And that was a really good, cool episode with lots of... They usually have like one song per episode, and it's really good. It's a Disney show, so... And it's ended, and they've got some really good movies too. Like, and each episode goes along that line, and there's a second plot where they have a platypus who's called Perry, right? And so his thing as a platypus is that he doesn't talk, no, but near the beginning of each episode, he disappears, sort of. And what happens is he's actually a secret agent who works for a organization that has to stop evil. And to do so, he disappears from his family. He's using his cover of being a pet platypus as a cover to stop evil, because there are mad scientists and stuff. And the main villain and or only villain that he really fights each time is Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz, who is a really sad guy, honestly. He's, I want to say, mutually divorced with his wife, and she sends him alimony or something each month, which is just a lore reason that which is how he gets all of the money to build his sciencey stuff. And he builds like a different like innator each day. Long story short, he names each of his guns, and then like he puts like what it does in front and then innator at the end. And then they always have self-destruct buttons because he's not that smart about that. I think there's one or two that didn't, because it was like, you know, curving around, like, you know, it doesn't have a self-destruct button because I thought about it for a second, but it's 90% of the time there is some type of self-destruct button. Anyway, Perry. So what happens is whatever innator he has ends up so either Dr. Doofenshmirtz's evil weaponry or whatever is somehow used to remove Phineas and Ferb's invention by the end of the day, before their mother can see it, because she never really does. And or sometimes they sell off their inventions. Phineas and Ferb do. Like, they built this, and these are some of the more popular ones I can remember off the top of my head, but they built like a 3-dimensional, like, gravity-defying, like, circle that you could play this theoretical game of... It's called football, but they're kind of British, so I think it was soccer for Americans. I believe it was soccer, or like American soccer, rest of the world football. But they called it Football X7, and it was this cool, like it was just a circle you could walk into. And I think it was supposed to be like theorized that it would be possible if like you could play like soccer like that in a space like that if gravity worked a certain way. At least that's how the show explains it. But I don't have to go anywhere in the next couple of days. I can park here. Long story short, it's a good show, but he always has he makes these innators. And Dr. Doofenshmirtz, he has a tragic backstory for each and every time. Like, his parents weren't there for his own birth, which is simultaneously extremely sad and extremely weird. That's one of the big things. Like, whenever anyone asks, who's the saddest character in history, right? Like, it's Dr. Doofenshmirtz. His parents didn't show up for his own birth. He was raised by ocelots, and when he did get back to his parents for some reason, they forced him to become a lawn gnome, because the place that they live, I think it's fictional. It's like a fictional European country, I think. They needed lawn gnomes, but the thing is, their family was so poor that they didn't have any. So he had to dress up as a lawn gnome, and he couldn't play games with anyone in town. And if he even moved slightly, his father would yell at him, and he would have to, like, stand still again. I don't know. And there's a lot of other stuff. And then, like, his brother is, like, this perfect guy. Like, he's, like, the mayor of the city that they live in. And he's, like, not, like, a huge character, but, like, he's always just like, my brother, who's, like, so perfect. It makes me hate him because he's not, like, good looking, and he has a hunch. His back is hunched and stuff, and meanwhile his brother is, like, like, I want to say, like, Thor, like he's, like, conventionally attractive in that universe. Though it's hard to tell because he's a cartoon character, so. But like, it's funny because, like, he's not, like, inherently evil. He just does things because he wants to, like, take over the tri-state area, which is, like, a certain amount of the space, like, a certain area of, like, where they live, which is just, like, really funny. Just, like, not the world, just not the state, not the country, not the world, the tri-state area. So is that, like, 3 states? I don't know. That's always something that was funny because they always call it the tri-state area. But, like, he always has, like, sort of petty reasons or, like, sad reasons for, like, a lot of his inventions. Like one of his petty reasons is he made a gun that made his metabolism incredibly large or whatever, which basically means you can eat a lot and you're really hungry, and you can eat a lot without getting fat, basically. And so he uses it to, like, go to all-you-can-eat buffets and eat everything. And after each buffet, he's like, oh, well, I'm starting to feel hungry. Well, I'll just shoot myself with my inator again. And he does, and he goes to the next one. And he just keeps doing that. And so he can eat out all of the all-you-can-eat buffets because they make the food so that you can, at least his excuse is that he says you can barely you can barely eat any of the food from the buffet because, like, you eat any of it and you feel instantly full, and so you just wasted money, basically. And that's, like, one of his petty reasons for doing something. And that's, like, a really funny episode I always remember. I don't know. The show was good. I meant to really talk about villains, but that's kind of really one note with, like, you know, they intend to do bad stuff. That's really all there is to it. Because, like, with heroes it's more complicated because there's, like, a really, really, really specific, like, there's a specificness to it. But with villains it's more just like you intend to do wrong. And while Dr. Doofenshmirtz does intend to do wrong, he's sad and stuff, and he has a kid with his divorced wife, but she has custody, so for the most part. So his daughter, who's, like, a teenager, shows up every once in a while, and she's, like, an emo, and he tries to be a good dad so hard, and it's really cute. To the point where sometimes Perry actually helps out Doofenshmirtz, just, like, to be like, oh, okay. But usually Perry just gets, like, trapped, and then he breaks free, blows up the inator, which also causes Phineas and Ferb's thing to move out of the, like, just to basically disappear. There's one episode where they made it disappear themselves because they made the a Gordian knot or something, which is, like, an untiable knot. And so the way they got rid of it was that after they tied it and they couldn't, like, get out of, like, the maze because it was, like, a really big knot, because they made it like probably, like, the size of 2 cars or something. The way they figured it out was because the original guy who I guess got the knot, like, figured out the knot, he was like, this knot is stopping me from getting to my horse. I'm not that smart. but I just cut right through it with this sword. And that was the whole thing, which was funny, because that's actually really smart. It's like, I can untie this knot with my brain, or I just cut through it with my sword. Genius. And so they actually ended up making the a Gordian knot out of licorice, so they got to eat their way out, which was funny. At least I think. Or is that the same episode where Doofenshmirtz made the metabolinator, or whatever it was called, the eating everything gun? So he ended up eating it. That would be funny if that was. Could have been. I don't know. Anyway, this has been going on for a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I'm home now, so thank you all for listening to this episode of the Drive Home podcast, and I probably won't be streaming it tonight, and you probably won't be able to find it because it won't be tonight when this comes out, but I'll be playing Multiverses when it comes out, which is, for me, tonight. It's either going to be 3 in the morning or at midnight, depending on... Because I think they use Pacific time, or they use PT, whatever that means. I'm like 3 hours ahead, so I might have to wait till 3 in the morning, which would suck, but worth it, maybe. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Thanks for listening. Hope to talk to you again next time. It'll either be about multiverses, or I was talking to my friend about this, because I did tell one person about this, and they suggested I talk about another game that I play that I really enjoy, so I might do that too. So probably it'll be Multiverses, and then the other one. So thank you all for listening, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.